Brigitte, I think you can start.
Okay, thank you, Julia, for the for the go. So hi everyone. I'm very happy to welcome you in this third session of our Young Entrepreneurship Policy Academy. It's good to see you back, even if online. But I mean, at least with some of you, we had the opportunity to be during the Liège conference and have some in-person exchanges, which were really nice, I think, and also inspiring for many, including beyond YEPA. So I think that was a really nice opportunity. So now we're back online with our series of workshops, and the one of today will focus on social entrepreneurship. According to a flash Eurobarometer we carried out in 2022, we could see that actually young people really aspire to have positive impact on the world, and that they are very much value. When I say very much, it's like 3/4 of them value that it's considered to have a very or fairly importance that a potential employer has defined social goals. And about the same amount, 3/4 as well believes that involving employees in decision making is crucial. I quote those figures because you will of course recognize that those are two of the key values of the social economy and social enterprises. So it's very important that we have this discussion today. Also, obviously, in the larger context of the Youth Entrepreneurship Policy Academy, which is trying to help with young entrepreneurs, also because we see that youth unemployment is still very high, unfortunately, in Europe. So the idea is really to try to devise better policy making to help young who want to start as an entrepreneur and potentially a social entrepreneur. Why do we promote social entrepreneurship in the Commission? Because we think it's very important in terms of personal, social, and professional development, potentially for young Europeans. And it has potential to create jobs, education, and opportunities. It's already an expanding path, so we're very happy with that, to see some momentum and some movement. And what we would like to do is to unlock the full potential of social entrepreneurship by combining knowledge building, funding, and policy work. Today, we will have the pleasure to delve with young visionaries who have already set up this kind of social enterprises, and how to blend business acumen with the commitment to make a positive societal impact. And the spotlight will be on these young entrepreneurs, and notably we'll have later on you will have seen on the agenda some breakout rooms where we'll have the opportunity to discuss deeper and also get more insight into their own experience, challenges, and opportunities. Talking about challenges, the most reported ones usually are access to finance, which is not unique to social entrepreneurship, but rather also horizontal for all young entrepreneurs, unfortunately. Access to markets, and also lack of support from institutions. So these are also part of the topics that we will discuss today, because it's very important for good design of policy that we can also better identify what are the challenges and possible way forward. Young people already, look for entrepreneurship training. Could be at school, at university, through networks, and also through these kind of events we have today, which are very important. And of course, a lot of now available resources on the social media or YouTube and other internet resources. At the EU level, we have developed an action plan for social economy in 2021. And also last year, we adopted a Council recommendation, so addressed to member states to ensure that they develop enabling framework conditions for the social economy. And one of the recommendations is let's say the recommendations horizontally, are meant to develop employment and social inclusion. And as part of the enabling conditions, we cover a number of building blocks, as those that I just mentioned, typically like access to finance, which is important, skills, which is important. And what we have asked member states as well is to think about their institutional organization and to adopt a strategy to really help develop social economy. And for that, they have 2 years. So they have to prepare it until the fall of 2025. So maybe just another quick word on what we do on the EU level, and talking about access to finance again. we have set up this Invest EU program, which is grouping all financial instruments. And notably, under the Invest EU program, there is a social investment and skills window, where we support notably microfinance products, support to social enterprises, and social impact investing. So very key to the topics and that we want to address today. And it's mostly done through guarantees and also equity investment directly. As we want to improve the social finance market, so we work both on the supply and demand side. So we InvestEU and also a number of other funding tools that we have under the employment and social innovation strand of the SF+. For example, to reduce the transaction cost for intermediaries who are willing to help those young entrepreneurs, because those are usually small loans, very costly. You need to have the business development support measures around. So we're trying to help that to redevelop the ecosystem. On the more knowledge development side, we have this cooperation with the OECD. I mean, it's part of a wider cooperation we have where we develop a lot of knowledge analysis exchanges. But today, I mean, it's really also to complement all this work we are doing with really getting knowledge from the ground, so directly from the those who are on first line trying to develop their enterprises, and the policymakers also try to help them. So that's where we think we can make a difference, and I will be delighted to listen to your input today, and I wish us all an excellent discussion. Thank you. And I pass the floor, sorry, to Lucia from the OECD.
Thank you, Brigitte, and thank you to all of you. I join in welcoming you all to this third online workshop, and allow me to extend thanks to the European Commission and the colleagues in DG Employment for the excellent cooperation, as well as to our host today, the Federation of Hellenic Association of Young Entrepreneurs. As Brigitte mentioned, today we are bringing together two very important issues, youth entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. And both of these issues, as well as how they link together, they have received a lot of political interest at the OECD. To inform you that over the past year, the OECD Council issued recommendations to governments in OECD countries and beyond on both how to address and how to foster youth entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. So today, the goal, as Brigitte highlighted, is very much to deepen our knowledge about the social economy, the social entrepreneurship, learning about the opportunities that these present for young entrepreneurs and the challenges. And I think Brigitte, she mentioned very clearly some of those where we know that the usual challenges that young entrepreneurs meet to start and grow their businesses can be compounded when their enterprises also have a social mission. So we are very much interested to learn about the experiences on the ground, as well as to reflect, to think about what governments can do, what they should be doing to support young social entrepreneurs. We have a very rich agenda, so before we get into that and actually discuss in detail those issues, let me share some housekeeping to take care also of some news and so inform you also about some of the recent activities related with YEPA and the participants. First, housekeeping. The second part of the workshop will have some thematic breakout groups. However, we noted that not everyone that is participating is signed for a group. So please, Ellen will now insert a link into the chat. And we ask those that have not yet indicated their preferences to please do so that you may be assigned in our Zoom room to the correct breakout group. So you have a few minutes to do so, and please, so that we in the second part of the workshop can be well organized. Let me also inform you about some recent activities that we have undertaken on youth entrepreneurship. Some of you may be familiar. The Missing Entrepreneurs 2023 report that we developed jointly with DG Employment was published. Data, policy information, country profiles, we invite you to have a look at that, and probably Ellen can as well share the link in the chat. And please note in particular a dedicated focus, a chapter on the effectiveness of youth entrepreneurship policy. Another information is that the OECD EU Better Entrepreneurship Policy Tool was relaunched in February. So we really aim to have something that is refreshed with an improved user experience. And there again, we much encourage you to have a look, test, and look at the way it has been improved, or for those who are not familiar, to have a run through the Better Entrepreneurship Policy Tool. On the Youth Entrepreneurship Policy Academy, we hosted a series of fireside chat with YEPA participants at the conference that was held in February in Liège, Belgium. And the focus was, similarly to the discussion today, on the social economy at the core of transition. And that was organized as part of the Belgian presidency of the European Commission. And I know that some of you were present in person, so thanks to all for the continued engagement also in person when this is possible. On other resources and communication, we have 2 new blogs that were produced and that are of interest to the Policy Academy. One that was co-authored by Salvatore Nigros, CEO of Junior Achievement Europe, and David Alabisky, that I think all of you know, that is coordinating our work on inclusive entrepreneurship. And it's about leveraging the power of youth entrepreneurship organization. And a second one on the Europe's innovation paradox, sitting on a gold mine, yet starving for impact. A very, I think, attractive title, authored by a YEPA participant, Ahmed Adi, whom we thank. So there is also, I think, this important opportunity to express views and share through the OECD blogs, and we invite you, also to come forward in case you see this as an interesting opportunity. There are also 2 new podcasts you may wish to listen to on the usual platforms. One on young entrepreneurs, money, mindset, and motivation. It's a discussion between David and Anita Thyssen, who is the CEO of Youth Business International. An interview by David on the New European as part of the Open Doors podcast series. And again, I invite you to use this type of resources as well as propose ideas in case you see the opportunity to share further and thought-provoking or experiences in this area. I want also to quickly let you know about some other recent activities by YEPA participants on which they are working on. Futurepreneur in Germany just released their impact report. This is an education program that seeks to build entrepreneurial mindset, support sustainable business projects. So there as well, we will put a link in the chat in case you're interested in looking at this. Other important activity, Youth Business Spain has celebrated their 10th anniversary last week. So congratulations to all of them. It was at the conference with the Ministry of Labor and Social Economy and GEM Spain. So we're happy also to give visibility through this platform to this type of initiative. And then forward-looking, in case you want to note in your agenda, Youth Business International will hold its Global Youth Entrepreneurship Summit 2024 on 8-10 October. This will be in Nairobi, Kenya. You can find more details on the website. You may be interested in the focus of the conference, that is Generation for Change, Shaping the Future of Youth Entrepreneurship. And I see that Ellen is putting all of these links in the chat. So this is more of an opening for you then to discover the details. Finally, and more on the YEPA events, there are a few being planned for the fall, in addition to the online workshop. So we are working on this on the organization, and we will keep you informed about these developments. But without further ado, let me pass the floor to our host, Andreas Stefanidis from the Federation of Hellenic Association of Young Entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. It is a great honor for Greece to be host of this very important third workshop of social entrepreneurship by young entrepreneurs, organized by European Commission and OECD. My name is Andreas Stefanidis, and I represent the Federation of Hellenic Association of Young Entrepreneurs since 2001. Very committed and focused on youth entrepreneurship, and since 2007, a second non-profit organization, Academy of Entrepreneurship, supporting social entrepreneurs on the skills that they need to develop their enterprises. And we're looking forward for this workshop, because I have to submit now on the participants that in 2023, Greece was the second country globally on the business complexity environment, and the first one, it was France. So that means that we have a lot of things to discuss, how we will support the social youth entrepreneurs on this difficult and complex environment, mainly because of taxation issues, mainly because of lack of financing, and all the topics that we will discuss. And this is why we are supporting Greece now to create the Greek chapters of Catalyst 2030, because we want the entrepreneurship skills and the social entrepreneurs of youth to support the global sustainable goals achievement, because according to the statistics and the research, they will not be achieved until 2082. We would like to be achieved until 2030, but this is a dream. Thank you very much for this invitation, and I'm looking forward to the next panel discussion.
Great, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's great to see everyone here. We're really excited to be together and to talk about social entrepreneurship. So you should have already received the agenda for the workshop today, along with a little background note to give you some of the basics about social entrepreneurship. So just to quickly let you know, we're going to start with a panel discussion that will look at the motivations for young people in social entrepreneurship. Then we'll have a presentation of the background note, and that will also cover the work that we've done at the OECD and with DG Employment. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that, the resources that are available. And then we'll have another quick set of presentations, including by a social entrepreneur, so we can hear about what they're up to and learn about their experiences. Then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll dig a little deeper into the different themes. So as Lucia noted, please sign up using the link for one of the groups if you haven't already done so. And why don't we get into the agenda now? So it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Amal Chavreau, who's leading the work in this area in our directorate. So Amal, thanks for joining us today and for helping to put this event together. I pass it over to you.
Thank you very much, David. I'm really happy to be here again this morning to speak about something very important. We've heard that in the opening remarks from Brigitte and from Lucia and from Andreas. So it's my pleasure now to lead a panel discussion about how what leads entrepreneurs to pursue social entrepreneurship and how can policymakers help. We have a great panel today, but unfortunately, one of the panelists cannot join us for a personal issue. So we have today with us Dana Verbal, who is a team leader for social economy at DG AMP. Andreas Stefanidis, that you've just heard in the opening remarks, who is the president of the Academy of Entrepreneurship from the Federation of Hellenic Associations of Young Entrepreneurs. And we have Sarah de Husch, who is also heading one of the most important networks on social economy and social entrepreneurship in Europe, Social Economy Europe. So welcome to the three of you. Hi. As I don't know if everybody is tuned. Yes, everybody's tuned. So we will start with we will have 2 rounds of questions and hopefully also time for Q&A from the audience. I'm going to be very strict on time because I think we need also people to engage and to ask questions and hopefully to have a nice discussion. So I will kick this conversation with Dana. So Dana, the European Commission, as we heard in the opening remarks, has been actively supporting the social economy and social entrepreneurship in general and social enterprises, especially through the Social Economy Action Plan. So we would like you to share with everyone what are some of the areas that the European Commission prioritizes to promote social entrepreneurship among the young entrepreneurs. And how do you work with social entrepreneurs to help them be more visible and have their voice more heard or raised in international discussions? And you have 4 minutes and I'll be sharp.
Thank you, Amal, and very nice to be here again. I was there yesterday too, but I'm adapting my presentation a little bit. I will not tell exactly the same things. There are a number of ways that European Commission promotes social entrepreneurship in general, but then also among young people. And of course, we prioritize those areas where the EU is best placed to act at EU level, at our level, because a lot can actually be done by the member states, and it is their competence to do so. An important area that we also acknowledged in the Social Economy Action Plan is social economy policies and legal frameworks. And what we can do from the EU level is not to design the national policies, but we can propose avenues for actions for member states and push them to do more for the social economy. So this is what we have done with the Council recommendation. And we can also support the member states in the implementation. And for example, with reference to young people and youth-led organizations, in the Council recommendation, member states are advised, for example, to include social entrepreneurship skills in education and training at all levels of education, and also to create apprenticeship schemes in the social economy to support young people. And as I said, we also support member states with opportunities for mutual learning and exchange. I think the YEPA is already an example of how we do this, but we also have other workshops that we organize specifically for policymakers. We've done a few already on state aid and on how to design a good social economy strategy. We also touched upon social impact measurement, for example. And maybe something else that is relevant, it's not really a priority, but I think a bit of an achievement is that we, in the Social Economy Action Plan and also in the Council recommendation, we laid down a social economy definition. It's a conceptual definition which is broad enough and inclusive, but nonetheless it puts forward concrete core values that all social economy organizations should share. And I think it's important because social economy is not equally known in all member states, and the definition provides some guidance also on the potential contribution of the social economy in general to the economic sectors. And then another way that we promote and make visible the actions available at EU level is through the Social Economy Gateway. This is a website that aims to present relevant information in one place on EU funding, but also there are country pages for all the EU member states. And we hope that this website can also support young entrepreneurs in identifying opportunities and also useful contacts. And then because, well, Brigitte mentioned in her presentation that young people are more likely to be using social media, although we do hear that these days Facebook is for older people. So, but still social media, I think, is more used by young people. So we have a social media campaign, and we promote social entrepreneurship through different channels. We also need to reach out to older people who tend to be policymakers like us. So depending on the target group, we use different channels. We have produced animated videos and also a Social Economy Voices campaign where we invite also young people who are social entrepreneurs. And maybe one last area of action I would mention is the social innovation, because we find that many social entrepreneurs are also social innovators. It's not a must, but they often are. So concretely, there is, for example, a European social innovation competition every year. This year, the theme is on digital democracy, and there's a call open for applications until June, 11th of June. With prizes in money. And based on my participation in a few previous final events of this competition, I noticed that a lot of the innovators tend to be young. I think this is because young people tend to be creative, and they also have this drive to challenge the status quo and willing to change how things work in the present. So I think I invite you to have a look there.
Thank you so much, Dana. I mean, very comprehensive set of tools and where people can get information, can learn, and of course support for countries to implement strategies, explaining also what social entrepreneurship and social economy is, because of course this issue, the never-ending issue of definition, and also a lot of information through the gateway, and using a good use of social media, and to present all this material in a nice way that young people can easily use. I'll come back to you in the second round of questions, but now I'm moving on to Andreas. So Andreas, first of all, we're very happy to have you on board today on behalf of the Academy of Entrepreneurs and the Federation of Hellenic Associations of Young Entrepreneurs. So could you tell us a little bit more on how your organization supports social entrepreneurs in their entrepreneurship journey?
Thank you very much, Amal, for this question. First of all, we started in 2001 with the Federation of Young Entrepreneurs, having as a focus to change the policy making of youth entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship for Greece. Is not always the same when you change governments, and when the political priorities are not focused on youth entrepreneurship. And then, especially in Greece, as you know, we had the austerity measures and the recession that we lost between 2009, 2013, more than 25% of our GDP. And almost 1 million people, they lost their jobs. We had a tremendous brain drain in other countries of Europe or globally. So it was part of the federation with the networking and the disseminating the activities of European Commission, mainly on OECD, and doing networking between the youth entrepreneurs to keep some of them in the country, to make work as a clustering. Also is not easy, because the mindset, it was not that collaborative. Even when we try after school to go to the university, you have to compete on the national examination to enter on the public university. So our mentality as a society, it is very competitive. so we cannot see how we can work together. And a part of that, in 2007, we saw the need of creating a second organization, Academy of Entrepreneurship, to give skills training both in the private and the public sector, and I'm coming to that in a second. Right now, we execute an Erasmus Plus program at European level with another 6 countries involved, that we train 8 entrepreneurship skills to public employees of Europe, because that's the best way from those public employees to give solutions to the national ecosystem to support youth and, of course, social entrepreneurs to achieve the global sustainable goals. And I'm so happy that the research of OECD says that 40% of young people, they give priority to have social impact on their enterprises. And so we are in a very good route. And I'm closing now this discussion saying that there is an excellent program at European level that we follow since 2009, Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, and we give a real focus to Erasmus for young social entrepreneurs, because if some new entrepreneurs can go to social entrepreneurs host in another country, that is a grassroots knowledge that they can utilize either to develop their own enterprise in their home country, or even to decide that entrepreneurship is not for me, but let's work on another private or public organization, but have entrepreneurial mindset. And that is very crucial for sustainability purposes.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's very, very interesting to hear all these great initiatives that you've been taking to encourage and to help young social entrepreneurs, and glad also to hear that you've taken advantage of this European program for Erasmus for young entrepreneurs and tailor it to social entrepreneurs. This is really very good. Moving on to Sarah. Sarah, good morning.
Good
Social
morning.
Economy Europe has quite a large understanding of the recent development of social economy, social entrepreneurship across Europe, being a network of networks. So in your opinion, how do you see the evolution of youth-led social entrepreneurship in Europe? And are countries, in your opinion, are countries increasingly putting in place measures to support this form of entrepreneurship in particular? And you have 4 minutes.
Thank you, Amal. Thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be able to exchange on these very important topics of youth and entrepreneurship. So as you mentioned, Social Economy Europe is an advocacy network that federates all families of social economy to dialogue with the institutions. So it's a network of networks. What we see regarding youth and social entrepreneurship in particular is steadily gaining momentum in recent years. But most of all, it's about not only aligning profit and social goals, but young people are increasingly want to develop businesses with a social environmental impact. It was said by other speakers before me. And this is a very positive trend when we see the challenges of the world today and the impact of economy on our society and the environment. And what's also interesting is that we see that some even want to go further by changing the way economy function. It means going beyond the environmental goals and social goals, but it's also just to tweak and change the way the enterprise functions. And social economy provides different models to develop a business that not only puts primacy of people over profit, it also reinvests most profit in the social objective, and it develops democratic practices. And this more collective approach to businesses and entrepreneurship fits quite well with the more horizontal approach of younger generations, especially those born with internet, as we old people say. And if you want to change the world, we really believe it needs to happen within the enterprises, not only regarding the goals, but also the way enterprise work. Now, when it comes to the EU level, as mostly member states, we have to link the two levels. The EU is clearly supporting social entrepreneurship and social economy globally with the social economy action plans, and Dana explained a lot of measures developed by the European Commission. And these really incentivize member states to have a specific approach on social economy and social entrepreneurship. So what we see is that in the different countries, they develop support mechanisms aimed at specifically nurturing and empowering young social entrepreneurs in different ways. through financial support, training, mentorship, networking opportunity, as well as education and awareness on these other ways of doing business. And all the member states have adopted the recommendations to Council that have been mentioned earlier. And then many states have also adopted the San Sebastian Manifesto, the Liège Roadmap, which we all which I would advise everybody to go see. And yes, they're beginning to support, or some already have a strong support to social economy and social entrepreneurship, but we can always go further, right? And but what we have to note is that there's a very different level of support or even understanding of what social economy and social entrepreneurship is following the different countries. But all these manifestos, recommendations, actions, plans are there to make sure that everybody goes and all the member states go in the same direction, and that there's a good support to all the social entrepreneurs and social economy enterprises.
Thank you so much. And yes, indeed. I mean, there are so many resources now that people can use if they want to go down this route. And I was just keeping an eye also on the chat to see that so many, Dana shared links, Andreas shared also links, and my colleagues shared links for work that we're doing here at the UCD on young, on the missing entrepreneurs, but also on all the blogs and all the other resources that you can that you are all welcome to use. Moving back to Dana, so both the Council recommendation and the EU OECD recommendation highlight the importance of access to finance for young social entrepreneurs, and of course it was highlighted as one of the challenges that young social entrepreneurs are facing. So could you just share with everyone some of the financing mechanisms that the Commission offers or provides to support social entrepreneurs, and what you think can be done even more to unlock funding and financing for social entrepreneurs?
Yes, sure, and thanks for this question. It's actually very relevant, and in our unit we are working specifically on the topic of access to finance, and especially repayable finance. But first, just to mention that, well, indeed, access to finance, we hear it often as the main barrier faced by social entrepreneurs. And this is linked to their business model, to the fact that they have social aims, and their governance as well that includes limits on the distribution of profits. And this makes so that investors perceive social enterprises as more risky. This is not the case. In reality, we see that the social enterprises financed through our instruments very rarely default. And they can be profitable, they are profitable. However, indeed, they very rarely are able to provide the financial returns on investments that you find in the venture capital world. And young people actually face a double challenge also due to their age, and they can be also perceived as risky for this fact because they don't have a track record. So very similar to the challenges they face when they try to access the labor market. They don't have enough experience for their first work experience. So we see this is particularly challenging for them. Now, what we do at the EU level is we work very much with financial intermediaries in member states by providing, enabling them to offer finance to social entrepreneurs. Brigitte mentioned we do this under the InvestEU program, the Social Investment and Skills window. And we are making different financial instruments available, in particular guarantees for loans and equity investments. And they allow financial intermediaries to take more risk and give loans that and make investments that they otherwise would not do. We also mainstream, because it's not all about repayable finance, social economy receives also a lot of grants, and we mainstream as much as possible social economy across EU funding. And we find that social economy organizations are well placed to benefit from funding in different fields of activity, for example, circular economy, socially responsible public procurement, and then also private procurement. So there are a lot of initiatives on this topic under the Single Market Program. But one of the main source of funding for many organizations in Europe is the European Social Fund, that allows for grants, but also financial instruments to be designed specifically for the social economy, and also in particular for social innovation. So we learned that so far the European Social Fund has been a game changer, especially in Central and Eastern Europe, where often there is no other type of funding available from the public sector. And then in terms of what more can be done, 2 seconds. Well, I think a lot can be done by member states at their level. We have a section on access to funding in the Council recommendation. And of course, they can use also the Better Entrepreneurship Policy tool that we have designed at the Commission with you at the OECD, and that we constantly maintain and update, and that has assessment sheets available for both youth entrepreneurship policies and social entrepreneurship, and then also with a focus on access to finance in particular. So,
thank you so much. And sorry, I mean, I know time flies by when we have a good conversation, but we still have 2 more participants, and hopefully we can secure even 3 minutes for Q&A. Andreas, could you walk us through the evolution of social entrepreneurship in Greece, especially also based on your work around the Catalyst 2030 movement, and also if you see in, you know, given your activities, your experience, and also what you observe in Europe and around the world, if there is attraction among young people to pursue social entrepreneurship. And I'm going to be very strict this time on time.
Thank you very much, Amal. Things are simple. The observations are clear for each one of us. We can see that after 2015, all of us as a global citizen, we have a common agenda, that is the global sustainable goals. So after especially the COVID period, especially the young people, the lockdown generation, let's say, they are very much aware that things in the future there will not be as used to be in their parents. So their enterprise mindset, they go to have a social impact, and that's good. However, as I mentioned already, the bureaucratic procedure and also the financing, and coming now to the discussion with Dana, we need at European level to train the banking sector what social entrepreneurship means, what are the challenges, because there are some of those financial tools in the banks, but at least from Greece, from my experience, they do not promote them. I go to the bank to support social enterprises and they share their own products. So that means that we need to collect our efforts, and this is why we are now creating the chapter of Catalyst 2030 in Greece, to have a collective voice at global level to support the global sustainable goals and to put the social entrepreneurship in the first priority of the societies.
Thank you so much. That was really great. And idea of du jour is to raise awareness a little bit more around in the banking sector. Sarah, last question for you. Through your activities, could you tell us a little bit more, or give us 2 or 3 main strong measures that you do to promote awareness and education around social entrepreneurship, and how you, in your opinion, policy could do a little bit more on this front?
Yes. So quickly, we support broadly social economy through advocacy at EU level. So better regulation, better policies. That means that we really advocate for incentives. on issues that Andreas has mentioned, how to, enhance administrative, structural support, financing, and so on. We also support the YEPA. We advocate also for teaching and education, vocational studies, education, at all levels, from kindergarten, compulsory school, higher education, university, but also lifelong learning of social economy skills and education and different way of doing business. So we do it through advocacy, but we also do it through projects with in different countries, and also by coordinating the large-scale partnership for upskilling and reskilling of workers in social economy and proximity. It's not only for youth, it's for all social economy, but there is also, in the new commitment that we did, a specific aspect linking this education for youth. And nobody has taken on this specific aspect. So if anybody here wants to help us with this, and they are welcome, because it's a roadmap that is decentralized. And it goes up until 2030. So if anybody's interested, this is my second of publicity. And to talk about how member states could, or policy could further support youth-led social entrepreneurship. I mean, here in this session, we just mentioned so many reports, toolbox, best practices. It just has to be an intention of member states to take on these good examples and to build on policies that can really support youth-led social entrepreneurship. And in particular, perhaps we should mention the public procurement and also the social and green clauses, which I think can really help these types of businesses and enterprises to thrive.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you all, the three, for keeping time and helping me also keeping time. I think a lot of information was shared. You have a lot of great links in the chat if you want to have a look. And now we have a couple of minutes for Q&A. This is your chance to ask questions to the panel. So who wants to take the floor? Do I have any questions from the floor? No questions? I guess we did a fantastic job. That's why. That's what I would like to think. Well, yes, please.
There is someone with their hand up.
Yes, of course, Slavika.
Yeah, I just wanted to express my gratitude for your presentations, and especially of bringing several aspects of complexity in legal framework for social entrepreneurship, but also understanding from the financial sector. But you were mentioning only banks. Banks are really not the best financial institution for supporting social entrepreneurship. I think that first of all, they should change their way of thinking about their financial mission. But for example, what about credit unions? In many countries, they exist, and maybe they are more closer to understand the concept of social entrepreneurship. And also, I would like to bring one example. I'm from Croatia.
Yes, please.
And we have policies we have strategy for supporting social entrepreneurship, but actually not many institutions or people are referring to this strategy and other strategies. And I would like to bring one example of promoting on a wrong way the responsibility. For example, for how you call for how you call actually the business which is in hazardous. My God, I can't say. Maybe it will come later, so I will bring this example because casinos, for example, promoting casino activities and then saying there is a thing on our television and radio, be responsible when playing in casino. How you can be responsible playing in casino, but also there is no actually promoting examples for social entrepreneurship and being responsible toward well-being of people and well-being of the planet. So I think that we should also think about that. Sorry for taking so much time.
No. Thank you so much for sharing. And the idea of bringing in this conversation, credit unions is one of is something that yeah, we could look into. And but I believe that there is space for all types of institutions to support and help social entrepreneurs, especially young social entrepreneurs. Banks have also a role to play. There is a need perhaps to continue raising awareness about these in these institutions, about what this form of entrepreneurship entails, what it can bring. And as Dana was saying in her remarks and her intervention, sometimes it's about showcase and de-risking this sector so that funders and investors and banks also could come in and support. I would like, yeah, Sarah.
Sorry, if I can just add, I think Sarita is absolutely correct, and I just wanted to mention that in fact we have under InvestEU a lot of beneficiaries that are credit unions. In fact, I know many of them come from my country, Romania, and they are especially well placed to support microfinance. But microfinance sometimes is also given to social enterprises. So I just didn't mention them, but we also do. It's true a lot to educate banks and more mainstream funders. To be more open to social entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, Dana. Sarah?
Yes, I just wanted to add that there are different organizations that are also involved in supporting social entrepreneurship. And beyond the classical banks, we also have ethical banks, cooperative banks. We also have microfinance centers. In fact, we have a representative here, a member of ours, if you have any questions on that. And many of our members have just written a paper that will be published in the coming days on how to improve InvestEU for these types of alternative organizations as well. So I just thought it was important to mention that there's not just classical banks. There are other forms of institution that can help finance social enterprise and social economy broadly, and they're very active.
Well, thank you so much. And yeah, you did well by stressing out what you're doing, Dana, on credit unions and other types of funders. And Sarah, yes, you definitely are right. There are so many institutions out there that are willing and are actually, in fact, supporting social entrepreneurs around Europe and beyond. Well, as I said, a good conversation. When we have a good conversation, time flies by. We have to stop this panel discussion at this stage for my colleagues to continue with the other activities we have for today's workshop. I would like to thank the three of you for your time, for sharing so much information, for being so concise and precise on time. Thank you so much again, and I'll hand it over to my colleagues. Thank you.
All right. First of all, can everyone see my screen now? Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Hee-Soo Jong, and I'm a colleague of Amal's at the Social Economy and Innovation Unit here at the OECD. I'm very pleased to be here with you today to speak about the subject of youth-led social enterprises, and I'm going to try to help you sort of organize, unpack, and also add additional insights based on our research as to what our panelists have discussed today. And that includes topics like the challenges that youth social entrepreneurs face, the importance of fostering formal and informal learning to acquire necessary entrepreneurial skills, and as well as how policymakers can best support them. Young people, those that are 15 to 29 years old in our own OECD definition, are increasingly churning to entrepreneurial careers where they can make a difference. Social impact and ethics are becoming more and more of an important criteria for young people. A 2017 World Economic Forum survey indicated that more than 40% of youth, between 18 to 35 years of age, see a sense of purpose or an impact on society as one of the most important criteria when considering job opportunities. Additionally, a study by Deloitte indicates that 44% of millennials and close to 50% of Gen Zs are making choices in their career and which organization that they would work for based on their corporate and organizational ethics. At the same time, many young people strive to become social or just regular entrepreneurs. Today, almost half of young people in OECD countries say they would prefer entrepreneurship compared to working as a salaried employee. Over 40% of university students in OECD countries reported that they plan to become entrepreneurs within 5 years of graduating. So the intent for entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship in general is definitely there among young people across the world. On that note, social enterprises are well positioned to fulfill this need and growing interest in social impact and entrepreneurship for youth. They create both social impact and provide more resilient and sustainable jobs. About 10% of businesses in Europe are represented by social enterprises, and they employ collectively more than 6% of the European workforce. The true scale may be higher given the different legal forms and definitions used for social enterprises across countries. Young people already play an important role in social enterprises and youth-led social entrepreneurship. As you can tell from the statistics in the middle, is in Western Europe, almost a third of social entrepreneurs is below the age of 34. And the share of youth below the age of 30 among employees in social enterprises is significant in many countries. It's reported to be around about 18% in France and 12.8% in Italy and 15% in Spain when it comes to the social enterprise workforce. And in many countries, social entrepreneurs and social enterprise employees currently providing essential services are bound to retire. In France, 18% of social enterprise employees are expected to retire by 2028, so that's less than 5 years. And there are opportunities for the youth to take these places in the talent pipeline and become the leaders for tomorrow in providing these social services. All of this also comes at a time when young people are facing amplified struggles. As many of you know, today's young people, compared to past generations, have more difficulty to live independently and get started in the workforce. Poverty rates amongst the youth increased by 10 to 16% since the 1980s, while they fell for the elderly during the same period. And all of these struggles and challenges became much worse during the past few years during the global pandemic and COVID-19. And young people's drive towards socially impactful entrepreneurship presents a double opportunity. On one side, social enterprises enable young people to run businesses while developing entrepreneurial and leadership skills. On the other hand, they empower them to address pressing social and environmental issues. As such, youth-led social enterprises have the potential to address pressing social and environmental issues, as well as dynamically engaging the youth with opportunities in the labor market. And young people are already using social entrepreneurship to drive impact across a number of areas. Youth-led social enterprises, as we have heard, can offer entrepreneurial and jobs for young people. But there are also so many more areas that youth-led social enterprises can have impact in. 82% of respondents in our study have reported that they have vast potential for social innovation and innovative solutions for local issues. 73% saw that one of the main potentials of youth-led social enterprises is, in fact, the very development of essential entrepreneurial and leadership skills for their community members and same peer groups in the youth age. And many others reported the green transition and digital transformation of social enterprises as an important area of impact. An example that we often like to cite is a social enterprise called Singa that was founded by two young social entrepreneurs slightly more than 10 years ago to connect refugees with their communities, find employment opportunities, and engage in social activities through that. Today, they have more than 50,000 members, and up to close to 100 full-time employees located across 7 countries, 6 of which are in Europe. Unfortunately, in addition to the great work that they do, there's still a lot of challenges that many of our panelists have already spoken to. And unsurprisingly, many of respondents have often cited access to finance and access to markets, sort of the very part of doing business and creating one, as the biggest challenges facing youth-led social enterprises. But also at the same time, we noticed a interesting sort of a very important second group of challenges, such as institutional support structures, business development support, and knowledge and skills. Sort of getting more at the entrepreneurial skills and knowledge and the capacity element of entrepreneurship. There's also the question of legal recognition, which is linked to complex legal systems where various legal forms and statuses are available for social enterprises. And finally, the availability of social enterprise networks is important to give young people access to role models that they can follow and sort of develop their ideas and gain visibility more broadly. Youth-led social enterprises face a double bind. What does this mean? On one hand, social enterprises face challenges related to their business models that prioritize people for profit, sort of balancing the mission drift between social mission and the for-profit nature. And on the other hand, the very young age of their founders can actually be manifested in some practical challenges. And what are they? First, young people show gaps in knowledge and skills needed to run a business. There's growing number of university programs or formal training, but they could be sometimes financially and practically difficult to access for many youth individuals. And second, starting a business, as I mentioned, is often very expensive. And the very age of the social entrepreneurs, the young ones, actually come to play as a challenge because the fact that they're young means that they often lack the collateral, credit history, track records needed to attract investment or just to simply take out a loan from a bank. And on the other hand, the very double bind of the social enterprise comes into play here as well, because of their commitment to social impact may actually have a relatively lower amount of profit or revenue that could actually deter investors and require further patient capital. Third, legal frameworks for social enterprises can be difficult to navigate, especially for young people. Just the sheer number and types of available forms and statuses often lead to youth to seek expensive expert legal advice. Finally, youth-led social enterprises still lack visibility. Evidence on their size and potential is limited, and this in turn affects their expansion. So what can policymakers and governments do to help here? Let's take a look at how we can translate these findings into policy recommendations. First, we found that we need to help young people develop the knowledge and skills to launch, run, and scale social enterprises, sort of going beyond the growing number and the becoming more popular programs in higher education. You could follow in the steps of other countries like South Korea and Scotland, in the UK, where policymakers have integrated social entrepreneurship and social innovation into even primary and secondary school curricula. And similarly, specialized training opportunities in other forms of education through financial intermediaries or informal programs can help develop business competencies. Second, we need to encourage private investment and develop tailored funding and financing opportunities. Third, raising the profile of social enterprises more generally is also important. And this is going to be one of the 3 breakout rooms that we're going to help contribute to the discussion of. We also need better data. Collecting data disaggregated and segmented by age is an important step towards informing policies that help effectively support them. And finally, and last but not least, giving young people a seat at the table. Though it is our last recommendation, it is perhaps the most important. Policy must engage and involve those who it impacts. In France, for example, 1 in 5 members of the National Council of the Social Economy are young people. Initiatives like these are inexpensive, but still effective ways to ensure that policy meets the specific needs and priorities of young social entrepreneurs. Collectively, these steps can empower young people to make the most of social enterprises to address social, economic, and environmental challenges. On that note, I'm going to end my presentation here. And I think we do have a couple of minutes for 1 or 2 questions, if there are any. One last call for questions in 5 seconds. 5, 4, and I'm sure everybody's already waiting for the breakout rooms, but any last minute questions? If not, I'll move into our two guest presenters. Before we begin, I want to remind the presenters that we have some strict time constraints for 10 minutes per presentation for per presenter per speaker. So please bear that in mind. And I believe the first group of speakers is being split by 2 different presentations. So please be more mindful of the time before we step in. On that note, can I invite Marinos once again? Yep, there we go.
Everybody, do you see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my name is Marinos Aniftos. I am from the Authority of Cooperative Societies in Cyprus. Our authority is responsible for cooperatives as well as social enterprises. And we have also the competency for corporate social responsibility for all enterprises in Cyprus. Together, we're going to take a look at the legal system and the incentives for social entrepreneurship in Cyprus. Even though that social entrepreneurship in Cyprus is at the very early stage, but we are moving progressively. Let me see why it doesn't move. Okay. Now, the legislation for social enterprise in Cyprus is consisted from the law as well as the regulations. The law was approved by the House of Representatives in December of 2020 and was amended in December of 2023. The regulations have been approved by the House of Representatives in December 2023. Regarding the categories of social enterprises in Cyprus, we have 2 types. The first type is the general purpose. The social missions achieved through the promotion of social, culture, and/or environmental activities for the interest of the society. The second type is for the inclusion, where the social mission is achieved through a minimum of 10% employment of people with disabilities and a minimum of 30% employment as it is employment of vulnerable people as it is determined in the relevant annex of the law. Now, eligible legal entities to register as social enterprises are 3 types. A cooperative society, which is registered in accordance with the provisions of the Cooperative Society Law, a private limited liability company with shares or with a guarantee, which is registered in accordance with the provisions of the company law, and a general or limited partnership, which is registered in accordance with the provisions of the law of general and limited partnership and trade names. Now, regarding the business activity and reinvestment, at least 70% of a registered social enterprise revenue must be generated from business activities providing goods and/or services based on a business model. This applies for both types of social enterprises, the general purpose as well as the inclusive. A registered social enterprise of the category of general purpose must reinvest at least 80% of its profit after tax carrying forward to non-distributable reserves. A registered social enterprise of the category of inclusion must reinvest at least 40% of its profits after tax carried forward to non-distributable reserves. Regarding the administration of social enterprises, every social enterprise shall be managed in a manner and is conducted in a business accountable and transparent manner, in particular with the participation of its member employees and or customers as appropriate, as well as with the participation of other stakeholders affected by its business activities. Now, we have an employee salary policy also for social enterprises. Every social enterprise applies salary policies and practices in a way that the salary of each of its senior management employees, as well as the highest salary received by any other employee, does not exceed 4 times the salary received by an employee of the lowest pay scale. Now, regarding this was about the legal framework of social entrepreneurship in Cyprus. Now, let's see some examples of incentives that Cyprus are moving forward. The Authority of Cooperative Societies prepared a subsidy scheme for social enterprises to cover initial expenses, for example, setup and operative expenses. The scheme provides €10,000 for each registered social enterprise, with a total amount of 300,000 per year for the period of 2024 to 2026, and with a total budget of €900,000. The scheme needs to be submitted to the Council of Ministers for approval. Also, a tax relief on the compulsory special contribution for defense on the distribution of profits, which is at the rate of 70%. In addition, a tax relief of natural persons who invest in social enterprises up to 50% of their taxable income in the year of the investment, and up to the total amount of 150,000 for a total period of 5 years. The bill has been drafted by the Ministry of Finance and sent to the Legal Service of the Republic for a legal technical review. Also, the Department of Social Inclusion of the Deputy Ministry of Social Welfare is in the progress of developing a training and counseling program for people with disabilities who will be interested in working for social enterprise or setting up their own social enterprise. Social enterprises that will be registered in the Registry of Social Enterprises are fully covered and will be treated on the basis of the relevant European Directive 2014/24/EU, which was transposed into Cyprus national law by the regulation of public procurement procedures and related matters. Okay. In addition, social enterprises also benefit by subsidy schemes announced from time to time by various other ministry services in relation to entrepreneurship, innovation, rural development, and others. For example, the Ministry of Energy, Commerce and Industry has recently announced a new business activity support scheme with a budget of 20 million, which is included in the Thalia program 2021 up to 2027, and is co-financed by the European Regional Development Fund, the European Social Fund of the European Union, and the Republic of Cyprus. Here it is worth mentioning that under this program, 70% of the subsidy for young people applies for young people and women aged 18 to 29 years old. In addition to the above, the Cooperative Societies Authority, in the context of the relevant recommendation of the EU and EU Action Plan, intends to update the action plan for ecosystem development for social enterprises in Cyprus, which was initially approved by the Council of Ministers in 2018.
Marinos, just to remind you that you have about 2 minutes.
Yes, I'm just closing up. Yeah, in June 2023, the European Commission, with the support of the Republic of Cyprus, Authority of Cooperative Societies, has organized Cyprus a peer learning event on establishing an ecosystem for the support of social enterprises. During the 2 days event, there was an exchange of ideas and best practices with other member states, which have established some developed ecosystem for social enterprises, and from which Cyprus could extract some good examples. Thank you very much. I guess that I was in time, and I'm hoping that I gave you a good idea about what is happening in Cyprus on social entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you. And Sylvia, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. And wonderful journey dedicated to social entrepreneurship we made today. And I'm glad to present some key aspects of social entrepreneurship in my country, Bulgaria. And really happy to share the time with Stanimira Georgieva, who is social entrepreneur, and she has a birthday today. So happy birthday, Stanimira. And because the time runs so fast,
Thank you.
I start with my presentation, and I hope you see it.
Yes, we see it.
Thank you. So I'm from Bulgaria, and I'm lecturer in Department Entrepreneurship, University of National Network Economy in Sofia, Bulgaria. And we teach entrepreneurship since 1992. And 12 years ago, we started social entrepreneurship course. And we are really happy because young people wanted to learn entrepreneurship, and they made and they generate ideas to their own business, and also they are really keen in social entrepreneurship too, and wanted to be a part of the decision of the problems and to contribute, and it is very optimistic. And some words about the situation in Bulgaria. But first of all, for me and a lot of people, social entrepreneurship is so close to our heart, because not only because give opportunity to answer some challenges, social challenges, but also because make something very beautifully, bring people together, and institution too. Because I'm part of one social entrepreneur enterprise, and people with different background, education, ages wanted to contribute and to help other people. In Bulgaria, the last decade, the social entrepreneurship initiatives and activity really booming, and I think our legislation follows this energy. And 5 years ago, we have social and solidarity economy law. Before that, national concept for social economy. And also a lot of women contribute in this field, social entrepreneurship. The target group which social entrepreneurs help is people with disabilities, with some healthy problems, children with problems and some limitation, unemployed, people who live in poverty, and also people who suffer from domestic violence, and so on. And I made quick research in our register of social enterprises, and saw some data. And a lot of our social entrepreneurs use art and creative methods in their work. For example, they made souvenirs, presents, different kind of foods, cookies, chocolates. Some of them are really masterpiece, and I don't know how to eat such beautiful things, but they made it with a love. And they made clothes, and even we have one social enterprise made toys for Christmas trees. Very beautiful indeed.
Sylvia, just wondering, are you not using your slides? Because I don't think you've been moving your slides as you speak.
Really? Because you see it now, slides?
Yeah, but you haven't been moving it. But either way, we've been understanding what you're saying, but I'm just letting you know that you have your slides that you can move to while you speak.
Now, do you see the slide?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. To know how to support social entrepreneurs, our institution, organization make different research about the problems facing social entrepreneurs. And I quote one key findings from one report made by Bulgarian Center for Non-Profit Law, because they work a lot in this field. And this report are from last year. And not surprisingly, 4 main challenges face social entrepreneurs in my country. Financing in different stage of life cycle of social enterprise, startup, survival, and eventually in growth phase. Skills, more detailed, these skills often connected with financial literacy, financial planning, also marketing, how to attract clients, how to improve products, team, how to find, to train and to motivate people, and environment to be more friendly, and the first more important, social entrepreneurs to be more visible. The next slide, I hope to see it about young entrepreneurs. Maybe you see it. Young entrepreneurs rely on them to give good ideas, creative ideas, new energy and courage, but they suffer from some limitation, and I see in my work too. They, of course, have limited experience, life and professional knowledge, skills, and networking, and trust building. And of course, access to finance is a crucial problem. And the next is confidence. Because of that, in university and schools, we made everything to build some infrastructure to help them. For example, in our university, we have startup hub, and in this startup hub, we help young people to clear their ideas, to find mentors, to help them about finance. And the next slide, I hope you see it, because it's the different level of support. The first of all, national level, and maybe the first of that is registration, to have appropriate legislation. About law, sometimes we have a discussion who is social entrepreneur and social enterprise, about criteria and so on. Programs who help social entrepreneurs. For example, we have such program, Human Resources, who give grants for social entrepreneurs, and another institution, Fund of Funds, who gives proposed financial instruments. But because of a lot of ideas of this field, we must scale this support. Very interesting among young people, the good result gives competition and prizes to make them more visible. And the youth entrepreneurship, we have a good examples of organizations who help and make a friendly environment and empower the voice of social entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs too. We have Able Activator, a lot of organizations who work in the field of female entrepreneurship too. Education, I think, is the more important. And in school and in university, we teach a lot and propose different courses of entrepreneurship to help young people to be more confident and more prepared with knowledge and skills to be successful in the field of entrepreneurship, but also in social. And we see a great potential for cooperation between social entrepreneurs and local authorities. And now we have a project, and this project in this area exactly how to improve the cooperation between Bulgarian social entrepreneurs and local authorities, because the natural partner of local authorities is social entrepreneurs who gives ideas to solve some social problems, and vice versa. Social entrepreneurs can find a good partner in local authorities. And after a year, we will have results, and I'll be happy to share these results with you. And we find some good practice, and we check the legislation and so on to make make conclusions and some recommendation about this area. And the final slides is my contacts. I'll be happy to contact with you and to share ideas and information in this field. And now I want to give word to the Stanimira, who is our social entrepreneur and make a great work in this field. So, Stanimira.
Hello, thank you, Sylvia, for the opportunity. My name is Stanimira, I'm Bulgarian. I would like to share my slides, but Sylvia, you need to stop sharing yours. Thank you so much.
And Stanimira, just to remind you, we're a little bit short on. We're a little bit short on time, so I would very much appreciate it if you could just be punctual in terms of your time, about 4 to 5 minutes, please.
Very much, very punctual. Who loves chocolate among us? Definitely, I'm one of us. So our social enterprise started in 2014 with two main goals: to have a production which can be a wow product, and we can allow people with physical disabilities and intellectual challenges to work. So we created a production of high quality chocolate in the center of Sofia. And another part of our mission is to organize charity sport event with the main goal to offer opportunity for professional growth of people with intellectual challenges and physical disabilities, to diminish the risk of social exclusion, and to change the perspective of the society that these people can contribute and they can be part of our society. This is our brand, Stanimira Chocolate House. Our chocolate is delicious, and more than 75% of our workers are people from vulnerable groups. This is some of our Easter products in Bulgaria. In our region, Easter is coming next week. Everything is handmade and hand-painted, hand-decorated. Who is working in our lab? This is Marina from Ukraine. She was one of the first refugees coming to Bulgaria with the scope to go to Italy or Germany. But she found work with us, and she stayed more than 2 years now, because she said, I found myself recognized, valued, and I love to be here because I have work. Another worker with us is Ralica. She's sightless. She sees nothing, but when she was young, she recognized the colors. She's hand painting our products. She speaks perfectly English and Spanish, and we are holding together a lot of events. You can see some of the production from our people. We are organizing chocolate tasting. Ralica and the other people from vulnerable group are holding this. We visit different embassies, businesses. This is a school. We especially focus on young people who can have this perspective of unity, diversity, and inclusion. We have we are very proud with our Olympic champion, a young lady, Tsveti. She started 5 years ago with us, and she was going to horse therapy. Once in the break, having her coffee, another single mom told her, "Why are you just petting the horses? Just jump on it." And she's very straightforward. When you talk to her, she's literally understanding all the words. So she jumped on the horse, and they were a trainer of the Bulgarian national Special Olympic team and said, you're gifted. So she started training, and 4 years ago she was in Abu Dhabi winning 3 medals, competing with 172 international athletes. And 4 years later she went in Germany and again came with medals. A lot of media visitors in the lab, and they were like wondering, what is this that Tsveti is winning the competition? And she proudly every time said, I feel valued in my workplace, there is discipline, and I want to give my best. She was invited to meet the president of Bulgaria. On your very right, you can see Tsveti on the picture, from a person who was barely speaking freely, was very ashamed. Now she's an advocate for what can a person with intellectual challenges do when there is an open door, support, and having recognition for her talents, having financial independence because of work, and no risk of social exclusion. These are pictures from some of our events. We are always putting our people from vulnerable groups in front, and our clients are recognizing it as a value added to our great chocolate. We received a lot of awards for these efforts, partnerships, and giving a lot of support to them. The Friendship Marathon is happening once a year in Pleven, again, a northern part in Bulgaria when not a lot of things happening, but for one day, we have more than 1,000 people who are participating, kids, and we have most of the volunteers are youngsters with different abilities, with various physical and intellectual challenges. They're recognized part of the event, and we hope a lot of perspectives are changing. We have cultural program during this event, Roma community who is volunteering. They felt isolated for years, but now they are part of the event. And you can see, for example, in this picture, deputy mayor, Roma kid, I'm in the middle, and children with disability, and businessmen who are running this 1 kilometer run to celebrate the diversity. We support charity causes, and this is my end. Am I good in being short in celebrating our achievements?
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you have some questions, I'm here online. I shared with Sylvia our presentation, and I hope we can partnership, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all the presenters. We'll check for a few seconds to see if there are any quick questions. Please raise your hand or speak up or wave at your camera. See if we have any questions. Philippa,
Yeah,
I think you have raised your hand.
Yes, thank you so much for the very interesting presentations. Some of them are really inspiring. Hello to my colleague Marinus, which has already been here in Portugal presenting the social enterprise project. And I would like to ask him if there are already any social enterprises that have because from what I remember, they were still putting it in practice, and it's great to see that it has been evolving. And I would like to know what is the situation now.
Hello, Philippa.
Hello.
As you remember, during that time, the regulations were in process. Nation, they have been approved by the Parliament of Representatives in December 2023, and then they were published in January. Then we had to prepare all the documents about the registrations. Those were completed in about a couple of months ago, and they have been published and uploaded on our webpage. So it means that during the last 2 months, the enterprises that are willing to register as well as social enterprises, because social enterprise is not an established enterprise, it's just a status of registration. So they are from what we know, they are in process of making those amendments in their bylaws in order to comply with the requirements of the law. So we are hoping that in the following few months we're gonna start having registrations.
Okay, great to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's time to take a little break. We've had a lot of good sessions, a lot of information and stories to absorb. So thanks again for everyone for their contributions. So why don't we take a break for about 10 or 12 minutes, and we'll come back at about 5 minutes before noon, and we'll go into the breakout sessions. So when we come back, we'll all be together. I'll provide you a little bit of information as to what we're going to do and how it's going to work. Then we will all zoom out to the breakout rooms and we'll have a discussion. And then we'll come back together at the end and we will wrap up before 1 o'clock Central European time. So thanks again. Take a few minutes, go for a stretch, grab a coffee. See you back 5 minutes before noon. Thank you. We'll wait a few more seconds. All right, people are beginning to appear on their cameras. So why don't we get back into the agenda? So part 2 of the workshop today is breakout groups. And we've changed the plan slightly in that we're going to split into 2 groups now. There will be one group that will look at access to finance, and there will be a second group that looks at how to raise awareness and promote social entrepreneurship. So you're going to be going off into those 2 groups. One group will be with Xenia and Julien from DG Employment, and the other group would be led and moderated by Hisu and Amal from the OECD. So the idea is that we're going to dig a little deeper into these 2 different topics. And it would be if we started with a quick of introductions. So very quick, just your name, where you're from, because you probably have noticed that this is our first time being together in these new reformulated groups. So let's get to know each other a little bit. And then the second thing we have to do quite quickly is identify who will be doing the report back for the group. Okay, so we'll go off into the rooms for about 30 minutes and we'll all come back together to wrap up in about half an hour. So enjoy your discussions. Don't be afraid to ask questions and share your experience if you have some. And see you shortly. So Helen, you can push.
Specializing in finance. Nice to meet you. And the next person for me is Leonie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leonie Baldacchino. I am an associate professor at the Edward de Bono Institute for Creative Thinking and Innovation at the University of Malta. One of my main areas of teaching and research is entrepreneurship broadly, including social and sustainable entrepreneurship. And I also do some work for the OECD on inclusive entrepreneurship. And it's great to be here. Thank you. I will ask my fellow Malteser, Jason, to introduce himself now.
Hello, all. My name is Jason Zamit. Yes, also from Malta. We assure you that there's still some people around, so we're not all in the meeting. But my role, I work for the National Youth Agency. So our role with entrepreneurship lies mainly in the promotion of youth entrepreneurship. So this is why I kind of chose this workshop. Thank you. I need to, let me check. Yeah, the next one on my list is Hanan. If not, another one would be, the next one would be Filipa.
Yeah, hello, I'm Filipa Farelo from Portugal. I work in CASES, which is a public interest cooperative to develop programs and projects aiming at the development of social economy. Oh, sorry, and the person next to me, well, I think besides the hosters, Madeleine Miteva.
Hello everybody. I'm Madeleine Miteva from Bulgaria. Sorry I can't join with a video as I wrote earlier in the chat. I travel and I'm on the move right now. So I'm part of YEPA and I'm a representative of the Ministry of Youth and Sports in Bulgaria. Thank you everybody.
Probably she cannot see who is next on the screen, so shall we go for well, David? Everybody knows you, so probably Andreas again. If you could, yeah.
Thank you very much, Julian. Hello everyone, my name is Andreas Stefanidis. I represent Greece and the Academy of Entrepreneurship at the Federation of Young Entrepreneurs, and we support the social entrepreneurship ecosystem through the skilling, reskilling and skilling of entrepreneurship skills towards the SDGs. And now we try to promote Catalyst 2030 Global Network, also the Greek chapter as well.
Okay. Last one is Ellen, I guess, but also very known to.
Yes, just briefly, I'm Helen. You probably received emails from me. I work at the OECD with David in the Center for Entrepreneurship, SMEs, Regions, and Cities. So happy to see you all today.
Genia.
Yes. We have another one. Sylvia, if you would like to maybe present yourself briefly.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Sylvia Georgieva from Bulgaria. I work in University of National Network Economy, Sofia, Bulgaria, Department Entrepreneurship. I'm Chief Assistant Professor and Deputy Director of Research of Institute of Entrepreneurship. And one of our priority is inclusive entrepreneurship. And I work in the field of social, also female and youth entrepreneurship too. And we have several projects in this area too. Thank you.
Thank you all for introducing yourselves. It's very nice to see that a lot of different actors are present and from different countries. So the aim of today's session is to maybe discuss some strategies on raising awareness about social enterprises and social entrepreneurship in general. So before we start, is there anyone who would like to be a rapporteur to support me to report back to the main plenary session by writing notes from our discussion today? Don't be shy.
I can do it, no problem.
Okay, thank you, Leonie, very much. In case you have any questions or you would like to discuss anything, just raise your hand or unmute yourself. And my first question for the participants would be, do you have any success stories or local initiatives on how you raise awareness about specific projects, or, for example, since there is many people from education sector, how you raise awareness about education strategies or programs for youth or for general audience on social entrepreneurship? Thank you. Filipa, please, let's hear from Portugal.
Okay, so I think I can give an example of an academy we have here in Portugal, and that is developed by Casas, the place where I work, and it's called the Academia Yes, Say Yes to Social Economy. It's the y.es, and it's a 1 week immersive experience. It's been happening since 2014, and it has changed over time. So in the first years it was online, it was in person, and then due to the COVID it started to be online, and now for the first time and it worked also well. So, but now for the first time this year, we're putting it again in person and with this 1 week immersive experience. So the objective is to promote the acquisition of knowledge and skills to develop projects of social economy, and also to get to know social economy entities. And as you know, social economy entities its main objective is to respond to social needs, and so it's at the beginning it was aimed only at young people, but throughout time we saw it's sometimes we would have some projects presented that were not developed exclusively by young people, and so it was broadened to also include other entrepreneurs. So the objective is to develop a structured project aiming at its implementation through a social economy entity. So one of the, probably it will be an association or a cooperative. And taking it more specifically, so we have 1 day with the notion of social economy. What are the orienting principles and the legal framework? Then you understand also how to identify the social problem you want to address, and then how to address the problem you have identified. And this is done by using, sorry about the noise. This is done by using the social business model canvas. Then you develop, you also have a business plan development. So how to develop your business plan. Also, you learn about brand building and also about pitching, about pitch. And the idea is more or less in the morning you have the workshop and all the theoretical explanations. Then in the afternoon you go and visit social economy entities, and in the evening you have presentations with people that are invited to talk about specific topics. And so that's it.
Sorry, I directly jump on it. I guess that several enterprises were founded after in the follow-up of this program. Do you have an well,
yes,
you probably don't have specific numbers, but an idea of, yeah.
Yes, sometimes I do not work directly with this program, but my colleague is in the next room. So I know that sometimes, so this is not aimed the objective of the program is to develop the environment so that people will create cooperative associations whatsoever. And it's true. I don't know if we have all the data regarding the afterwards of it. I know some particular projects that have been created, but I think I can have some more information about it and send it to you if you have interest in it. Yeah.
Thanks. If I may, Philippa,
Yeah.
a URL that you can share with us?
Sorry?
Do you have a website, a link to the website that you can share with us, please?
Yes. I mean, this is I have the web page about the previous edition. I don't know if the new one is already all the information is already out, but you can see the 23 edition.
You can post it into the chat,
Yes.
please.
Thank you, Philippa. I'm really impressed by this initiative. And please share the links in the chat.
Yeah.
Andreas, now to you.
Thank you very much. We separate the actions in 4 levels. First of all, at European level, we started in 2008 promoting the Global Entrepreneurship Week, especially to the European countries. It was an initiative started back in 2008 from the ex-Prime Minister of UK, Gordon Brown, supporting the youth on entrepreneurship minded and especially the social entrepreneurship, because one of the most serious challenges is the unemployment of youth at global level. Then we started now the last 2 years to support the Catalyst 2030, a global network especially for social entrepreneurs, and now we go to national level. We do events inviting all the ecosystem. That means social entrepreneurs, municipalities, local authorities, ministries, because if all the public and private organizations, they do not understand how social entrepreneurship mindset works, it's very, very difficult to have a real impact. And after 2015, we put as a priority the global goals, and all the European projects that we run, either as an organization or even a European project of public authorities, we try to put them together and to collaborate on make multiplier events of social entrepreneurship together, in that case to increase our impact, because it's much different to promote the results of a project by ourselves and much different and higher impact if we do it through the municipality or the region of Attica or other region of Greece as well.
Thanks. May I ask a question just to clarify, since I'm taking notes? I'm having a look at the website. Thank you for sharing the link in the chat. So this is also an intensive 1-week program, correct? The Catalyst 2030.
The specific week, it started last year, is just intensive. Everyone can organize an event, either a face-to-face or an online event with a social entrepreneurship topic, and they publish on this week. For example, last week...
Is this a similar thing like Global Entrepreneurship Week, which I am also familiar with because I am the host for Malta, and I think that's where I know you, right, Andreas?
Yes, correct.
So is this kind of inspired by that, but focused on social entrepreneurship?
Correct.
So
and
SDGs. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Andreas. Would you maybe share some topics that were discussed last year in the Catalyst?
Yes, last year we discussed mainly entrepreneurship skill and training towards the achievement of SDGs. This year, we as an organization, we put on the Catalyzing Change Week the importance of the entrepreneurship skills in the public sector in order to have a mindset close to the social entrepreneurs that, as I said at the beginning of today's workshop, countries like Greece or France, they are very, very complex on their business environment. So by facilitating the mindset of the people that they work in the public sector, we improve the ecosystem. And we strongly believe that those solutions, they will come from the people that they work in the public sector because they know the problem better and they know the solutions better.
Thank you. Can we hear some success stories from Malta?
Jason, maybe we can talk about actually something that we had done as a collaboration a few years ago with the Innovation Challenge Go Green. Okay, so this was focused more on environmental entrepreneurship, but I mean, if we're looking at social entrepreneurship quite broadly, I think this would also fit. So we as an institute had collaborated with Agency Azaza, with the National Youth Agency that Jason represents. And we had organized essentially a competition for young people to identify an environmental issue, an environmental problem, and come up with an idea and carry out a feasibility study that would be linked to an environmental innovation and possibly a startup. We organized some training for the participants, and then the finalists were chosen and they presented their ideas and their feasibility studies to a panel of judges. The 3 finalists were eventually published in a booklet that was also distributed for free. Received quite a lot of publicity actually, thanks to Jason's team. And the winner was awarded a trip to a conference related to the topic that his idea was. I believe it was on water conservation. And so it was quite a good initiative also for the winner, but also for the finalists. And I think this is a good example of raising awareness because of the publicity that it received, and even just the young people who came for the sessions and didn't go on to actually pitch and win, they still learned a lot about what sustainable entrepreneurship and related concepts are.
Yes, just like Leonie is saying, when it comes to awareness, first of all, as a national youth agency, we don't specifically work on entrepreneurship. We take youth as in general, but then when it comes to raising awareness on all of the topics, but also obviously like on a topic such as entrepreneurship, we have our own youth information center, and we use that to promote all initiatives that are being done for young people. So whether it would be, I don't know, like when Malta Enterprise would come up with an initiative for young people, it is our role also to promote it with young people and with other partners, so they become aware in a way of what's happening. And one of the things when it comes to raising awareness and really reaching out to young people is to be able to talk in a youth-friendly manner. And unfortunately, I see a lot of material that somehow might not be that interesting or appealing to young people, and that's one of the things we do as an agency, that we try and make material as appealing as possible for young people.
In Malta, we also have social entrepreneurs. Hang on, let me just find the link. As I opened it, but I somehow got 2 different browsers open now. They're called SEAM, Social Entrepreneurs Association Malta. Not specifically aimed at young people, not youths, but they are an association that organizes quite a few different projects, networking events specifically for social entrepreneurs in Malta. So this is, I think, also quite a good initiative, which I will post into the chat.
Thank you for sharing. And now to Bulgaria, if you would like to share some strategies for raising awareness.
Thank you. I prefer to share, first of all, our efforts and experience in university, and of course, of whole educational system. First of all, we have a lot of classes of entrepreneurship in school and, of course, in universities. And because we have experience, maybe in our university, the first started educational entrepreneurship education 1992, and 12 years ago social, and we want to develop indeed this knowledge how to start the specific of social entrepreneurship, and our students have this course social entrepreneurship in their last year, 4 year, and before that they learn about how to start enterprise, how to develop enterprise, and so on. The second, we made and work of different research project, and the last is about local authorities I mentioned in the last session, and we relay a lot of that to contribute and to help social entrepreneurship and the local authorities to collaborate in more effective way. In our lectures, we often invite social entrepreneurs, and they come to university and share their experience, their story. And I noticed something: every social entrepreneur has a different and very inspiring story, and this touch young people so much, and they wanted to help, but they recognize their mission, their interest, and a lot of social entrepreneurs came not only like lecturers, but they propose their product. We make different days to them, and also we wanted to make a network not only between us and social entrepreneurs, but among teachers in school and other colleagues to work together in this field. And a lot of our students actually who learn and study entrepreneurship as a bachelor degree program and master degree program started their own business, and some of them has social elements in their businesses, and we are so proud with that. But we, of course, wanted to make possible to have a lot of social entrepreneurs young too. And something finally I want to say, they are keen on not only social issues, but also environmental issues. And some of them have very brave ideas, but sometimes between intention and actions, the step is not so short. And I think here is institution and education to help.
Thank you, Sylvia. Now to maybe continue, since we are talking about youth and students and enterprises that they open, could you maybe mention some of the challenges that students or youth were faced with when it comes to actually opening a social enterprise or access to funding or something similar?
The first of all is, I think, some skills. For example, knowledge, I think they have, but some skills, how to motivate people, how to negotiate, how to build, how to network, how to build contacts and to keep them. The second, I think, is confidence, because some of them has good ideas, but they afraid to make the first step. And of course, access to finance is on the second place, the third place, because when they start, young people don't have their own money, or for them it's difficult to attract. And because of that, I think is the key element.
Thank you very much. We have 5 more minutes. So is there anyone else who would like to maybe talk about challenges with youth when it comes to youth and social entrepreneurship, to hear from other perspectives? Maybe from Portugal? Or yes, Andreas, please.
Thank you very much. One challenge is the collaborative mindset that is missing, as I said at the beginning of today's workshop. And second is, of course, the bureaucratic procedure that they need to take at the first step. Also, they don't know how the market works. That means we discuss with them to find a real need of the market, and especially a social need of the market, because entrepreneurship is not just to find, let's say, a possible grant to support opening a business, because the grant sooner or later in 1 or 2 years will finish. The difficult thing is how this business will be viable after any financing will get funding and will survive. But apart of that, they do not know how the teams to collaborate together. And that is a lot of work from capacity building and skills training on this area.
Thank you.
Xenia, will we be also talking about maybe suggestions how to overcome the challenges, or is this the last question?
This is the last question, but you can also say briefly about challenge and about the challenge and the solution.
Okay, so I completely agree with what Sylvia was saying, that there seems to be a lot of positive social entrepreneurial intent among students, and I see this, and it's kind of, I always say it renews my faith in humanity when I see their presentations at the end of the year. They're all wanting to solve real problems. But then, as Sylvia said, there's a huge gap between that intent and action. Somehow, it hardly ever happens. And I think it's not necessarily only due to lack of skills and access to finance, but the lack of confidence could possibly be addressed by highlighting success stories, positive role models. And I mean, this is totally lacking in Malta, and I think even on a European level more broadly. So I know about some successful young social entrepreneurs because I work in the area. I teach, so I look out for them. But if I didn't do that, nobody would know about these young people who are doing all these great things. So I think one key action that could be taken also by policymakers is to somehow create some sort of a program, an awareness raising program, highlighting the success stories and maybe the challenges that they encountered and how they overcame them. But actually, that would possibly help young people to understand that, hey, these people who are similar to me, they were also young, they were also students, they also didn't have so much money, but they made it, then maybe I can do it too.
Leonie, I definitely agree, and I have also to latch on to what Andreas was saying a little earlier. Although obviously my expertise doesn't lie in entrepreneurship, but when it comes to young people, I think it's all the same in the different policy areas that affect young people. One thing that really matters with young people is the here and now. So when something takes a long time, it definitely they lose interest. It's something which pertains to youth. Youth has this going on. It's what makes youth interesting. The changes, all the changes that's happening. But when you're working with young people, you have to work with the here and now. So bureaucracy has to move a little bit faster for young people to really work for them to come up with the projects and to really make something happen. We have to be a little bit quicker because they tend to lose to lose interest. It's something in them. I mean, they cannot do anything else. It's the way they are. They are young people. They lose interest. They move on. So we have to be fast as decision makers. When they come up with an idea, we have to work on it. Because if we work on the pace and that we work as older people, then we lose them.
Thank you. This is something we could hear also yesterday, so it is good that we identify common challenges. And finally, Filipa, because we should go back, maybe 1 minute if you can.
Yes, is just a small, but I think it's relevant also. It's that not all young people are the same. So sometimes it's really interesting if you see that these young people that are already in higher levels of education have this component of entrepreneurship. I also believe, and we had that experience here with one specific program, that when there are, for example, neat young people that are not working, not employed, not studying, it is sometimes harder to have that entrepreneurship mind. And so I think that it should start at a younger age, that if you're going to try to develop that kind of mentality, it has to be earlier, and not only for those who get to go to higher education, because you would be missing out other young people. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. David, do we have time for one more comment?
Yeah, why don't we take another half minute, and then for those who didn't have a chance to speak in the group, we can share all together once we're back in the big group.
Evgenia, would you like maybe to answer the question about challenges and policy proposals for youth? Okay, then Andreas, please.
Very fast. Entrepreneurship needs a lot of patience and resilience. So even young people, if they are on a hurry, they have to wait. And we are very lucky because last week we completed a very nice Erasmus Plus program with Malta. And so it's good also from the participants for Malta. It is an undergraduate higher diploma in social entrepreneurship that has piloted from Erasmus Plus with 3 universities from Greece, Italy, and Turkey, and 2 organizations from Malta. I put the link on the chat. So it's very good in Malta also to know that we're going towards a good direction.
Thank you. And finally, Sylvia, but shortly, we have 30 seconds.
Yes, because Filipa said the young people is different. Absolutely. I made one research among 442 young people from Roma origin about their entrepreneurial intention. And the key moderative factor is knowledge and education of entrepreneurship. Of course, we have another factors, but is the key one. Maybe the next time I share more information about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, it is important also to represent underserved groups in these fields. And let's go back now to the main breakout room, and thank you again all for this very lively discussion.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to the main room. I think everybody is here. I know that we had a great discussion going over an hour room, and we didn't quite wrap it up. So I think what we'll do is we'll allow people an opportunity to continue to add some brief contributions here now that we're all together. I think the same is probably true over in the other room. But why don't we first look at the awareness raising topic? And we had Leonie who volunteered to do the report back. So Leonie, why don't you share what we were covering in our group?
Thank you, David. So we spoke first about some good examples from the countries that were represented in our group, starting with Portugal. And we learned about the Academy Yes, let's say Yes to Social Economy, which is a one-week immersive experience focusing on the acquisition of skills related to the social economy, and it includes a variety of different initiatives such as visits to social economy entities, a little bit of theory, a little bit of practice, the use of the social business model canvas, and so on. Then we learned about the Catalyst 2030 and Catalyzing Change Week in Greece. That is similar to, for those of you who are maybe familiar with Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is an initiative aimed at raising awareness and encouraging entrepreneurship generally globally, but this is more specific to social entrepreneurship, and different entities are encouraged to organize different events during that week related to social entrepreneurship and social innovation. We spoke about from Malta about this Go Green Innovation Challenge that had been organized a few years ago in collaboration with the National Youth Agency. And here young people were invited to identify an environmental problem that could also have social impacts, of course, and come up with a business idea, an innovative business idea, and carry out a feasibility study related to it. And the awareness raising aspect of this was that it received quite a lot of publicity and encouraging young people to apply for the program, because it also included some training sessions. Finalists were selected and they got the opportunity to pitch to a panel of judges, and their ideas were published in a book by our institute, and the winner was awarded a trip to a conference overseas. And we also heard from our Bulgarian colleague from the university in Bulgaria, who organize courses on social entrepreneurship that are offered in the final years of programs. They invite social entrepreneurs as guest speakers on a regular basis, and they also network with teachers in schools to raise awareness about social entrepreneurship at as a young age as possible. A very important point we felt was raised about the fact that although there seems to be a lot of positive intent among young people towards social causes and social entrepreneurship and social innovation, there is unfortunately a huge gap that needs to be bridged between the intent and the action. So something seems to be missing. So that then led us to discussing what are the challenges, what are the obstacles, why don't young people act upon their ideas so much. And among the challenges that we identified were a lack of skills, lack of access to finance, which I think is a problem across the board, but possibly even more so for social entrepreneurs, and a lack of confidence. And we also spoke about the fact that young people tend to have they want things to happen in the here and now. The concept of delayed gratification, perhaps for young people, is a little bit alien. So in terms of how to overcome those challenges, we spoke about the possibility of campaigns highlighting positive role models, success stories, who are young people in the social enterprise community. There are many, of course, but unless one is actively involved, unfortunately, people don't really get to know about them. And also, importantly, trying to minimize bureaucracy and to speed up the process so that when a young person has a social enterprise idea and has the intent, they can act upon it and not be discouraged by the lengthy bureaucratic processes. I hope that I captured what we spoke about, or at least the important points, but if I left anything out, please feel free to pitch in.
That was great. Thank you very much, Leonie. Xenia or others in the group, do you have any other points that you would like to add? Or are there any questions from the other group? We can do that as well. We have a few minutes. Don't see anybody jumping at the opportunity. So why don't we switch over to the second group that was, I think, talking about access to finance. Who was going to do the report back in your group?
It'll be Marie.
It's me.
All right, Marie, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So we had rich conversation as well, so I hope I will be able to report to everything that was done, and if not, I will ask my colleague in the group to chip in. So we did a tour of Europe from Romania, Cyprus, Croatia, and so on. And I'm gonna divide my feedback on two parts. First, we tried we talked about why there is an issue with access to finance for young entrepreneurs. So we mentioned the lack of collateral, the lack of credit histories, but also the difficulties to build a convincing and sustainable project with business plan and so on to actually apply to bank loan and convince them of the validity of the project. And then we also mentioned the lack of financial literacy for some of the social entrepreneurs and the lack of entrepreneurship skills. The question is how to implement a dream to a successful business story. We also mentioned the lack of competence from national institutions to actually support entrepreneurs in building their business. So here we need to make sure that yes, the trainers are actually trained to do that. When it comes to solutions, sorry, I also forgot one in the problems, the lack of regulatory framework on social economy. So here, basically, the issue is that when you don't know the model, it's always difficult to accept the funding of an entrepreneur. And then when it comes to solution, so we mentioned the need to set up a regulatory framework for social economy in Europe. But also we mentioned the need to sometimes create mechanism to redirect entrepreneurs to other financial providers other than banks to allow them to access to finance. We also mentioned the risk of investing and the need to sometimes involve angel investors and so on to actually show them and attract the potentiality of bank to invest in them. I mentioned train the trainers through mentorship and other policies at the national level to ensure that national institutions are equipped to properly train the entrepreneurs to ensure that they have an entrepreneurship in mind, that they have all the competences in hands to do that. I'm checking my notes. Yes, one last point that was mentioned is also to make sure that we can define the success, and success is not only profit. So here again, it would be nice to have some kind of scale and criteria on this. I was really fast, so if anyone from my group wants to add, please do.
No, I think I wanted just to give Brigitte the opportunity to share her follow-up question or with Hess. Yes, please.
Indeed, as we were kicked out of the breakout room, I had a question for Hess, who just mentioned the plan. He thought was interesting in the US, exactly on this fact that on the training needs, but to be trained by actually entrepreneurs, so that they have set up networks of entrepreneurs who just act as business angel, but on the business development side. So, I mean, if you could tell us a bit more, I would be happy to know.
Thank you for your question. So basically, these skill sets for the entrepreneurs and for any social entrepreneurship in general, entrepreneurship is not a skill that you gain from the educational institution or the high schools or the universities, even universities. And I believe that also proven by mom to the community. However, the issue here is that is what we mentioned in the group is gaining the trust of the entire ecosystem to collaborate together. That's what matters. So there needs to be some institution bringing these mentors, because individually they're either so busy that they don't have time for any of these thoughts, or that they don't believe in the ecosystem. So there needs to be an umbrella that brings all these mentors together, and then that institution can bring entrepreneurs to connect them with these expert mentors. And the thing is, for these institutions to run this show, there needs to be a due diligence. There needs to be a diligence, a screening process that whomever that is in charge of this educational training program, they need to be individuals who has done it. You know, they need to teach what they live. I've seen it in other countries as well. They're academic textbook mentors. They have not ran businesses or entrepreneurship, because business 101 entrepreneurship is very, very different than the actual market entrepreneurship, the one that works. So those kind of individuals which know the theory of entrepreneurs are not necessarily suitable to train the entrepreneurs for their journey. So what I believe is there needs to be trust building, and there needs to be an institution that connects the two sides. This is how it works also in the United States, specifically in Silicon Valley too.
Pass the floor over to Julien for a few concluding remarks, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the next steps and upcoming activities before we say goodbye. So Julien, over to you, please.
Yes, thank you, David. First of all, I think me and my colleagues and my OCD colleagues as well, we are very satisfied with the series of workshops about social entrepreneurship. This is the last one today, and indeed we have now it's clear for everyone that there is appetite for meaning and for purpose among young people, and there is appetite for entrepreneurship. This is not just temporary. It seems to be a heavy trend for young people. That was not the case in my generation, but it seems really important now today, probably because there is less standard employment opportunities than before, and probably because the challenge of, but at least it's there. And we as public officials, we have to try to respond, to understand it, and to accompany the solutions for it. Yesterday I had a conclusion. Okay, we have to simplify things. We have to create one-stop shop offices for youth entrepreneurship. What strikes me today is that there was a lot of intervention on skills that, of course, young people, because of their lack of experience, have to improve their skills. And I'm happy because we will have one workshop in the future on skills, one series of workshops on skills. And probably there it will be very interesting to differentiate between types of projects.
As noted by Julien, the next one will be in September. And the September workshop is one of the workshops where you get to pick the topic that you want to cover. So we've got that in the survey as well, and you can pick from the list of topics we've put forward, but you're also free to suggest a new one. And so we're going to see what comes back in the survey, and we'll put together a workshop based on what you have chosen for your topic. Then following that, in November, as Julien said, we'll have the next workshop on skills. So if you're interested in contributing to any of these upcoming workshops, by all means, please let us know, and we will find a way to get you into the agenda. And then the last point is just to pick up on the upcoming events. We've got some discussions ongoing in a few different countries about organizing, because we will send around the invitation, and if you're interested and available to come, you are of course most welcome to come. So stay tuned. There should be some news before the summer. And then I saw in the chat there was a question about the wrap-up workshop, and I think Julien answered, but we haven't set the date, but probably I'm thinking September, October, November 25, I think somewhere in that ballpark. But we will of course let you know. Julien, I didn't see what you wrote in the chat. Hopefully not contradicting what you said. Anyway, so that's it for us. We thank you again for the discussions and the contributions, and we wish you a great